What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video we got a brand hammer new bike, a 2024 GSX8R. Now this is a brand new bike from Suzuki. This is a twin cylinder bike that is designed to race the Twins Cup race series. This thing is super nice, super impressive, and just came off a big win in Daytona. This thing performed really well. Sat on the pole in the Twins Cup and kicked butt the whole race weekend in Daytona. It's a super good looking bike. This one here, bone stock, 0 miles. Now I've had this thing about 2 weeks, been playing with it, been breaking it in. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. I get asked this question literally 10 times a week. Chris, how do I break in the engine on my brand new bike? Well, that goes from fully cold, meaning as cold as the engine will go, to fully hot. Not meaning hot as the engine will go, but up to about 200 degrees operating temperature, okay? Cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot. In between the warm up, I guess you would say, once the bike warms up, then you're gonna wanna hold the RPMs, 3,000, 4,000 RPMs, just vary the motor and hold it there. 3,000 RPMs, maybe 20 seconds, okay? Take it up to 4,000 RPMs, 20 seconds. Then take it back down to about 2,000. Maybe let it idle for a second, then take it back up to 5,000. Keep the RPMs varying. Do not, I guess you would say, beat on or abuse the motor when the engine is cold. Let the thing get up to at least 120, 130 degrees before you do any revs. Enough blabbering about break-in. We've already went way too long on our intro, guys. Let's dyno this thing, see what it does, bone stock. Then we're gonna tune it, bone stock. Then we're gonna install a Krapovich full exhaust sprint air filter. We're gonna do some mods. We're gonna see what this thing's all about. Stay with us, guys. Here we go. All right, let's fire this puppy up, see what it makes. Bone stock, completely untouched, out of the box. First thing I notice is quiet, way too quiet. Another thing I wanted to mention, I looked through the ECU on this thing. It's got restrictions in the ECU, but not in 5th gear where we dyno them. The restrictions, crazy heavy restrictions in 1st and 2nd gear. We're gonna dyno it in 5th first, see what it makes. So 75 horsepower, bone stock, first pull with 53 foot-pounds of torque. The torque is pretty strong. The thing is actually pretty rich. So I'm gonna do some tuning on this thing, see if I can't get some more power with a bone stock ECU configuration. No, wait a minute. I said that wrong. I'm gonna see if I can get some more power out of this thing with a bone stock parts configuration, just by modifying the ECU. Let's see what we can do, guys. All right, guys, I got the tune dialed in for the stock configuration. It smoothed it out a ton, not as much jerky on-off throttle. And like I said, the restrictions are going in 1st and 2nd gear. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to dyno them in 1st and 2nd gear to see the power gains, but I can tell you, seat of the pants is gonna be huge. We're gonna run it one more time, show you the final numbers. Then we're gonna take this thing off the dyno, get it in the shop, get this way too quiet exhaust system off there, and put on a full of Krapovich and make some noise. guys, pretty nice little gains here. Now I know you're gonna think 78 horsepower is what we finished up with, 55 foot-pounds of torque, but the biggest difference is gonna be how much better the bike rides. The bike is also gonna run a cooler as it's cruising around. Everywhere about it, this thing is gonna be much nicer to ride and perform. And you can see here, we got some pretty decent gains. So in certain spots, 3, 4, 5 horsepower. This is, remember, just from tuning alone. Our biggest gain, just by getting the ECU Flash, is gonna be getting rid of those pesky restrictions in first and second gear. But enough talking about the tuning, let's talk about getting this exhaust system put on there right now. All right guys, finally the exhaust is installed on the GSX8R. We got the engine broke in even more, been heat cycling it ever since. This has been really about a week ongoing project, but man, this thing looks and sounds so much better. Now you can see we did the fender eliminator kit and different tail light. Look at how much neater and cleaner that looks. Really way better. Let me turn on the key so you can see the tail lights. Tail lights look good. See if I can stretch and reach the brake light. Brake light. And then check out the turn signals. All this stuff looks super good. We went ahead and did a set of turn signals on the front as well. But big improvements as far as appearance goes. Now listen to the sound. I've already got the thing warmed up. It sounds super good. Definitely not the same bike anymore, guys. So it sounds a million times better. I've already done, I guess you would say, some time on the dyno. I have not hit record yet to see what kind of horsepower we got, but I can tell you the bike is super lean as far as the air-fuel ratio goes. So I think tuning it is gonna help out a ton on this thing. We're gonna set you guys up right here. I have listened to your comments, guys, and you said you don't like the new dyno setup because you couldn't see the screen. Well, I'm gonna try to position you here so you can see the screen. Comment in the comments below. Let me know, do you like this view and angle better? Me personally, I hate this stupid pole in the way. I don't like that thing. Makes it hard for me to do my videos, but let's run this thing and see what we got. Alright guys, we ended up with 80 horsepower and 57 foot-pounds of torque. Before we were at 78 horsepower. So really, probably $2,500 spent, only 2 horsepower difference. But the bike is super lean. Let's tune this air-fuel ratio in and see what we can get out of this thing. Here we go guys, time for the new baseline pull with the new Akrapovic exhaust system and a Sprint air filter. Now, we've got a good bit of money in modifications. How much power do you think it's gonna pick us up with no adjusted tune? Let's see what it does. pretty decent gains, not too shabby. We went from 78 horsepower to 82 horsepower, and you can see we've gained pretty much everywhere. And the bike is super lean. So we had the air fuel ratio pretty well dialed in with the stock exhaust. Now that we've done the modifications, we've upped the airflow. So of course now we're too lean, meaning we've got to up the fuel flow for everything to match. You can see here, look, this is at 7,900 RPMs, went from 75.99, basically 76 to 81 horsepower on a small CC bike. These are pretty big gains. Right in here, you can see we got some nice gains as well as about 5 foot-pounds of torque. So that's super big. And keep in mind, remember, all the restrictions in this thing were mainly in first and second gear. So once we get the air fuel ratio corrected on this thing, it should be a blast to ride in all the gears. And just like that, the tuning is finished. I tried everything possible to get the most horsepower out of this GSX-8R as possible with tuning. We ended up with 83.51 horsepower. Take a look at our gains over the stock bike. We started out at 75.45. We ended up with 83.51. Overall, really nice gains throughout the whole entire RPM curve. You can see as we change the graph, I can shrink it down. This thing right here is in the way. So anyways, let's drop this down, and you can see here we went from 62 horsepower to 70 horsepower and from 51 foot-pounds of torque to 58. So overall, super big gains throughout the whole entire RPM curve. When you start gaining 8 and 9 horsepower in the mid-range, that is huge, guys. And remember, like I said, the restrictions on this thing were mostly in first and second gear. All the horsepower we gained was through exhaust, air filter, and tuning. So overall, huge gains with this thing. Super popular bike. This gonna be, I guess you would say, up and coming. And thanks to Woolwich Racing providing us with the tools we needed in order to tune this thing. Woolwich, they're the ones that help crack the code on all the ECUs on these bikes, and then that gives us the ability to tune it. So overall, comment in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the bike we've done so far. And if you've got one of these things, how do you like riding yours? And have you done any modifications to it? Because if you haven't, I think you need to hit us up, moremafia.com. We can help you get the exhaust, the air filter, whatever you need for this thing. We'll get you hooked up. We have some of the stuff even in stock on the shelf, ready to go for it. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, be sure to click the subscribe, click the bell for the notifications so you get notified every time we upload stuff. We got videos on our channel tuning all kind of bikes, as well as taking a lot of drag bikes to the streets of Mexico and to the drag strip. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Smash that like button, and we'll see you next time.